What's up, NFL fans? You know, the season is starting to heat up. Big plays, even bigger wins. This video is being sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official partner of the NFL. And I'm here to tell you, we got an exciting offer for you. New customers, you can bet just $5. You get 200 in bonus bets just like that. And DraftKings customers, you can also get skin in the game with the same game parlays. You can combine multiple bets from the same game for a shot at an even bigger payout. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, use my promo code, The Last Stand. Bet just $5 on any wager, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Use the promo code Last Stand only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's The Last Stand, and here is your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. It is The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. I'm Brian Custer, and joining me today is a guy who is probably the hottest player in the NFL right about now. Former NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, especially 2 seasons ago, 2-time Pro Bowler, and a big boxing fan, by the way. And he is right now the leader of America's team. He is Micah Parsons here on The Last Stand. Micah is Brian. Welcome to The Last Stand.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Listen, man, your team is hot as fish grease right about now. Obviously, defensively, playing really well. I know the numbers may say something different, but I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Dallas Cowboys right now have the best defense in the NFL?
Yeah, I do. Confidently, full-heartedly. Best DBs, best defensive linemen, best linebacker core in the NFL.
Is this the new Dallas Doomsday that we're seeing?
Yeah, this is new Generation X. You know, old school is cool, but I think we got a chance to beat them out.
I think it is phenomenal when you look at what your career has done. Your rookie year, if I'm not mistaken, 13 sacks. You follow that up with 13 and a half sacks the following year. I got to ask you, you had a couple of sacks just last week. How many sacks? What's the goal that Micah Parsons has for this upcoming season?
I'm going for the record. You know, simple as that. I want the record. You know, I ain't going for nothing less than the record. That's what I want. That's what I want to be. So the standard's high, bar's high.
You know, I thought it was interesting, too, when you look at Vegas and the NFL power rankings, they say right now San Francisco, KC, the top 2 teams to win the Super Bowl, followed by the Eagles, then the Cowboys. Your thoughts on that?
You know, and as it should be. You know, Kansas City, reigning champs, Eagles, reigning, NFC Conference champions, and the 49ers obviously was in that game. We didn't earn that right to have the top odds, but, you know, it don't matter where you start. It matters where you finish, and I think we're going to be the top dogs this year.
Michael, what were you thinking when Nick Bosa signed that $170 million deal, $122 million guaranteed, and $34 million annually?
You know, I was like, damn. Like, I can't even lie. Like, I don't think no one – I think everyone was a little bit surprised. Especially it's dope that he beat out Aaron Donald's 30-plus a year. And as he should. He was the defensive player of the year. So, you know, him setting the bar for on the field and off the field was truly amazing to see.
Now, were you licking your chops even more considering you know you're up at basically at the end of the season? You're like, yeah, okay, if he gets that, Micah should be really paid.
Yeah, you know, you obviously think about where you want to be in the future and things like that. But, you know, I was the type, if someone sets the bar, I got to set it higher. So, you know, looking at his year and what he accomplished, you know, I feel like I got to beat his year out. And then I could talk about, you know, future contracts and things later.
Are you expecting the Dallas Cowboys to compensate you as the highest paid defensive player in the league?
You know, just on the respect thing, I expect them to compensate me as, you know, what they think I'm worth. If they really know what they have and truly best believe that I'm the best player in the world, then, you know, I expect to be compensated as much. But, you know, that it's always different how someone else views you.
Your teammate, Trayvon Diggs, I want you to hear what he said. He said this, quote, talking about you, Quote, he definitely should get quarterback money. He deserves it. He is a generational talent, end quote.
Mm. And it's crazy because he's the same way. When he got paid, I was the first person to congratulate him. I was in the office with him, and things like that. So when you talk about brothers, that's like my brother, like to the death, like to the death of me. And I always tell him, he's a little exotic. I was like, man, we could just chill, bro. Like we don't gotta do too much, like because I'm homegrown, chill. But that's my brother for real.
That's fantastic. What do you think about the comparisons? Because a lot have come your way, and people have said this guy is like Lawrence Taylor. Other people have said this guy is like Derek Thomas. What do you think about those comparisons?
Yeah, those are all good comparisons, but comparisons is a thief of joy. I think people should just enjoy what I'm doing because, in my beliefs, I don't think we ever seen someone like me before. Someone who can cover with receivers, and I'm not talking about spot dropping, zone dropping, and getting an interception. I'm talking about there's been times where I've been matched up on receivers, times I've been matched up on your best backs, and then I go and beat your best tackle. So I don't think there's been anyone in the league that's been at this level before, and I think I just want people to appreciate what I'm doing.
Do you believe you're the best defensive player in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I truly do believe I'm the best defensive player in the league right now. I don't think there's anybody doing what I'm doing or see what I'm saying, and the only person close is I would say is Myles Garrett.
What do you say, Micah, to those who say the Cowboys do this every year? They get hot. Everyone talks about them, that they're the best team in the league. And then these guys cannot handle the success, and they end up tanking in December, and especially in the first round, second round of the playoffs.
It's a tough notch, and and it's sad to say I've been a part of it my first 2 years, but I never been a loser in my life. I've never been a type of person who gave up, a type of person who was going to fold over. I always been a winner. I know I'm a winner, and when you got, and that's contagious. The energy, the positivity, the things that I put on my guys, and what I help lead my team, it's completely different. And I think when you change the environment, you change the outcome. And I think that we have a real good chance of changing that outcome this year.
Yeah, and that begs the question: why will it be different than this season?
Just like I said, the positivity, the environment we're creating, the welcoming, the brotherhood, everything. Which I wouldn't say was necessarily a Cowboys thing. Dating back to those guys, it was like a lot of individuals, a lot of great talents. It was a lot of guys who was like, he's a really good player, but can he play with everyone else and things like that. And there were so many egos on previous Cowboys versus this Cowboys team. I don't know if you see or see a difference, but there is no egos. There's everyone playing for one. There's everybody loving to see each other eat. Everyone's going to get paid. Everyone's knowing that, there's one guy I'm on, that's to get up that mountain, and it's to touch that Super Bowl.
How different is it, because people were talking about even with Mike McCarthy, and especially on the offensive side, him calling plays now, getting rid of Kellen Moore, saying, hey, look, we were scoring all these points, but you know what? We're putting a lot on our defense too because we're scoring quickly. These guys are out there a lot. Now, you know what? Maybe we need to be more ground and pound and rely on the defense as well and just be different, do things differently. Did you get a sense that even from Coach McCarthy's side of things, like, yo, I got to change things up, and look, if the pressure's on me, I'm doing it my way?
I don't know if I necessarily thought. I think Coach McCarthy, he has a system in mind, and it's exotic. It's his way, and they butt heads, and especially when you got two different visions how you want the program to run. Scoring fast versus a guy who's like, man, we want to eat up some clock. We want to control the time of possession. We want guys to feel like they have to throw the ball and things like that to compensate and make it compatible for the defense, and it just makes things a lot better. So what Mike McCarthy's doing right now is truly phenomenal.
Is this the best Dallas Cowboys football team that you've been a part of?
Yes, and by far. We added pieces where we needed to fill spots. We brought in Brandon Cooks. We brought in posing minutes of Stephon Gilmore, posing of one of the best CBs in the league, Trayvon Diggs. So, you can't just throw it anywhere you want. We brought in Leighton Vander Esch back. We got our safety trail back, the chemistry. We all play together. And they kept the core to core. And, that's what's dope about this. They kept the core to core, and we just added people to that core. So it's going to continue to look special as long as everyone stay healthy.
Yeah. We got the opportunity, obviously, to meet, talk when Errol Spence fought your Dennis Ugas. You were even up there holding the belt when they weighed in. When did you fall in love with the sweet science?
With what?
When did you fall in love with boxing?
Oh, I would say I really fell in love with boxing was that Ugas fight. That was my first, professional boxing match I ever went to. And I'm all about the mindset, and I'm all about determination, the effort, like the grit, the just everything that's tenacity, the ferociousness. Like I used to love like Mike Tyson. Like I also love Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I studied them and I watched all their clippings and their mindsets of how they train and what would they do. And when I saw it in person, it was like instant. I was like, wow, like this is crazy, And I instantly fell in love with it more than just over the phone and watching these guys. And that fight that day, that's when I like fell in love with Errol Spence, what he's done and where he's at in his career. Not just about what he's done, but who he is as a person and what he wants to be and how he thinks and things like that. I was like, man, this guy's for real.
Now that it's summer, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals that support sunny and active days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with flavorful, nutritious, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. And you're going to save time, you're going to eat well, and stay on track reaching your goals. Listen, you're too busy with summer plans to cook, but you want to make sure you're eating well. With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store. Head to factormeals.com/laststand50 and use the code laststand50. You get 50% off. 50% off. That's the code laststand50 at factormeals.com/laststand50 to get 50% off. That's fantastic. Now, I know that you were at the fight when he took on Crawford for the undisputed welterweight title. Were you surprised how Bud Crawford dominated that fight?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I would have bet my everything on Earl. That's how much belief I have in him, and I still had that belief in him. So when I see the rematch, I'm still rooting for Earl. I just think when it came to that moment of who was more prepared, and that's one thing I understand about the nature of violence. Violence is forced upon one who is more prepared, and I just think Crawford may have been and showed that he was more prepared. He was more ready for that moment than Earl. I don't think that the skill gap of what most people are saying is that much like bigger, but I think Crawford went into that different space and he showed that. And um, and that happens to everyone. Mike Tyson, he got caught and he got beat down because that guy was more prepared. He went into that different space. When Muhammad Ali beat Joe Frazier, he said, I'm going to wear him out. I'm going to take my beating, but he went into a different space and won that fight. So when a person goes into that different space and you may not be prepared for it, and when you see something different, it might surprise you. And I think Earl was a little surprised. And, when you surprise, it's hard to – and people think, oh, it's that easy to bounce back. But when you get shocked, bro, it's hard to come out that tunnel, man. And only the really, 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 really top 5, like 0.5% come out of that tunnel. And it's very rare. So not everybody got Brady moments, So we can't look at that in the nature of sports. It's not too often.
What do you think about Spence not only initiating the rematch clause, but obviously wanting to fight it now at 154? And I guess Bud Crawford's camp responded and said, sure, we can do it again, but we're going to do it at 147.
I think that's a little weak. I thought the Spence, his rematch showed what we saw in the fight. That this guy is right from the south side, and he wants to get it on. And one thing about that fight was no one's talking about. They talk about the beating. Spence could have went down after he got knocked, and everyone said, "Oh, Crawford could have won by just TKO knockout." But Spence said, "Nah, man, I'm gonna keep fighting for my life. I'm gonna keep showing y'all. I'm gonna keep getting up. This guy can't break me. This guy, he may break everyone else, and they might quit or feel confused. But Spence was like, "No, I'm not gonna let this guy take this from me." And that's something that people not realizing. Spence has the most heart in boxing. You see the Ryan Garcia. People say Ryan's so soft because He didn't want to get up. He feared Tank. Spence said, man, after that, come on, like you're gonna have to keep doing this. I'm gonna keep coming back. And he was still pushing the tempo. You know, a lot of fighters been backed up or just try to hold on, but Spence went out fighting, and I don't think that's talked about enough. And you know, I think Crawford should give him to him at 154. You know, especially because he said he wants to go up and fight Charlo. So why are you making exceptions? You know, you want to make exceptions when you want to go up, and then you say you want to fight Canelo. To me, if you about that life, you about that life. It don't matter what weight, what time, where we at. Hey, if you really want to get it on, let's get it on.
I love it. Speaking of that, listen, we got undisputed versus undisputed. Jermell Charlo, you just mentioned him, taking on Canelo. In your opinion, who wins that fight?
It's gonna be a close one, but I think it's all gonna matter how Charlo stand up. I think Charlo got the better jab. I think he got a better hook. I think Canelo's known for his power, but I don't think Canelo's ever fought someone with the same amount of power, more power. With that knockout punch that Charlo got, and he has a little bit more reach. I think it's going to be a little spooky, especially because if we seen the Bevo fight against Canelo, he struggled when someone had that reach and power on him. Not necessarily we think Charles going to knock him out. They're not. They're both not the most technical sound boxers, I would say, but they both have that power. So it's going to be interesting to see. But obviously, with Charlo from Dallas, I'm going to take on Charlo over Canelo. But it's definitely going to be a top fight.
Was there something you did this offseason that you can say that's tangible that you said, see, and now here comes the benefits, the rewards of that, and you guys are seeing that play out every Sunday?
Yeah, one thing I would say that the boxing conditioning was like, you know, something I did this offseason. I was like, man, like this heart racing, this tempo, this upbeat pace was definitely something I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm getting tired no more. Like I feel like I could go on the distance and go forever. So, you know, that was something I did. I was like, man, this was dope.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, Micah, for everybody who comes on the show, we allow people to submit questions through social media. We got a number of them, but we're only going to just get to a few of them for you. First one from X here. This one from MC in the Ring asks, your favorite current and past boxer?
My favorite current boxer right now is Javante Tank. You know, it's him and Shakur for me. That 135 class is just something that I just love to see. And then my favorite former would have to be Mike Tyson, man. You know, when you talk about mindset and going out there and say I'm gonna knock him out, that's what I like to see. Like, you know, so that's probably why I like Tank the most because, you know, outboxing someone cool and it's like, dang, this guy good. But when you knock somebody out and that chin check, it's something beautiful to see.
I'm with you. Okay, Ray asks from X, how do you feel about the Lawrence Taylor comparison?
You know, I appreciate the LT comparison. But you know, it's a new day and age. They run a completely different offensive system, pro style systems and stuff that they ran differently than they did back in the day. But obviously, being compared to one of the greatest of ever is always a complete blessing.
Stezo from X asks, and it's kind of what you just talked about. He said, I see you've been doing some boxing training. Are there any similarities between training for football during the season and boxing?
Yeah, you know, one thing that I like is you got to learn how to fight under pressure. You know, use your hands under pressure. How people gonna jab you, how people gonna punch you, and it translates to the field. I feel like it's helping my reaction, seeing the hands better, seeing where they're coming from. The placement of my hands have been night and day, completely better.
Okay, Micah Parsons, we come to the last segment of this show. We call it The Last Stand. I'm going to give you a series of questions. You just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Yep.
First thing that comes to your mind when I say the Philadelphia Eagles.
LaShawn McCoy.
That's it?
Yeah, he's from Harrisburg.
Well, you know, I mean, everybody said that that team is the toast of the NFC, the toast of the division. Jalen Hurts is going to be just as good. Cowboys can't beat them. You say what?
I see y'all in November.
I like that. First thing that comes to your mind when I say San Francisco 49ers.
Revenge.
Will you be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year this season?
Yes.
Will the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year?
Yes.
Are you tired of hearing about the Cowboys haven't won in like 26 years?
Yeah, and I only been here for 2, but just the dog and me, I need that. I need that. I gotta pick up.
We don't have a nickname yet. Can we come up with a nickname for Micah Parsons?
Yeah. Some people call me the Water Boy. Some people call me,
The Water Boy?
yeah.
Why?
I had that since I was a kid.
That's hilarious. What else we got?
They call me Stick City, Sticks, Sachi. I don't know.
I like the lion type thing that you got going on.
Yeah, the Lion. The Lion too.
I like that. I like that. Is there one that you think this one ought to stick for me?
Probably the Lion.
The lion, yeah, I like that. Yeah, we got to do something with that, Micah, because you king of the jungle right now when we talk about the defense. Now, people be watching this thing. What do you want them finally to know about the Dallas Cowboys this season that's different from the seasons past?
I want y'all to know that we putting our all into it, and what we want to sacrifice and do for the fans and the Jones and the Cowboys organization is above and beyond. I hope y'all ready for a great year.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, one of the reasons why is this guy right there, Micah Parsons, probably the best defensive player right now in the NFL. That's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport, and it doesn't get any bigger than number 11 of the Dallas Cowboys. Mike, I appreciate you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week.